And welcome to the January 14th, 2020 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the Village of Ossining. Please note that this is a public hearing that is quasi-judicial. We ask that no one speaks in the audience. If you have something to say or need to discuss with anyone, please take it outside of the room and down the hall towards the front door. If you talk outside of the conference room doors, your conversation will echo back in the room and we can hear everything you said. When you come up before the board, please provide your name and address. Remember, you are addressing the board. You are not speaking to an applicant or their representative. Applicants and representatives, please remember you are addressing the board, and it's the start of a new year. My name is Marlene Cheatham. I am the chair of the zoning board for 2020. I want to welcome everyone, and let's get started. On the agenda tonight, continuing business of the board, ZBA 1519, 6 Narragansett Avenue. Is there any? This was put off again. So it was originally submitted in July, but their applicant is asking for an adjournment until February 2020. Is there anything we need to do for this?
Just approve it.
Just approve it?
They just have to appear next month.
I think the last time they were here, they were asked by the board to come in with a different design
Yes.
from what was being presented. And since that time they were here, which I think was about 3 months ago, at the next meeting they have to bring in a new design that can be looked at to see if they can come up with something more suitable for the board.
Okay. I guess my only question is, this is the second or third adjournment since November?
Well, the first time they asked for a 2-month adjournment, that was granted, and then they were supposed to appear in December, and they
Right.
requested for another 2 months, which takes them to February.
Okay.
So if they don't appear on the next one, that would be the third.
Okay. Do I have a motion to grant the adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We miss each other.
Next is ZBA 2519, 31 Ferris Place. And again, this applicant is requesting an adjournment until February 2020.
This would be the first
This
adjournment.
is the first adjournment, and I do think that we did get an email or a notice saying that the applicant is ill, so.
Okay. Move to adjourn, February.
A second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Up to new business of the board. ZBA 0120, 21 Forest Avenue is, this applicant is seeking a variance to create parking in the front yard. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant? Please give us your name and address.
Came up for ZB 739, didn't we?
Oh, did I miss one?
Yeah, the other one was the
719.
38 James.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Here.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay.
No, I got you. Can you find it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, it's
All right.
on it too.
I'm sorry. So we're going to do ZBA 0719, 38 James Street. Is there someone here to speak on behalf of 38 James Street? This applicant is seeking an amendment to previously granted variance to construct a garage in the rear of the property. And the variance was originally granted in May of 2019. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of this application?
No, and I think, Jamie, you had sent a notice out for him to appear today, but we didn't get a response from him to see if he was going to attend this meeting.
In that case, if they're not here, I would say hold it over until next month. Because the applicant needs to be here.
Okay. So do I get a motion to adjourn until the February meeting?
This is the first adjournment?
Yes, it
Yes.
looks like,
Okay.
yeah. I'll move that we adjourn in a month.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Joe, on this, there's a pad there already, he wants to put a garage on, is that it, in this one?
Yeah, he's been in front of the board a couple of times.
I mean, is the building gonna be on the pad or over the pad?
The survey that he's coming to the board with next month, since he's not here today, is an as-built survey. So the structure is built, that's the survey with the structure up.
So it can't be bigger than okay.
Well,
It,
the first survey that he came in and got the original variance was, what happened was he had proposed it as that he needed no variance, he was gonna leave the required 5 feet.
right.
Then he put the foundation in, and during that inspection, it was, it appeared that he didn't have a 5 feet setback, so we told him, you need to get a foundation survey. So he paid to get a foundation survey, and as we thought, it required a variance, and then the variance was granted. And if you look at the survey that the surveyor did on the original survey, he actually outlined the setbacks in a box on the bottom corner of the survey, and he wrote it as proposed, basically, foundation survey. Once he was granted the variances, he was allowed to continue. Now he put the building on. You see it says proposed building corner distances.
Yeah.
And then when he put he bought a prefabricated structure, put the building on top of the foundation. We said, get another survey updated, and now the survey came back with different dimensions than the original one. And it's actually now closer to the property line than the original variances that were granted.
Well, from the first variance to the end of the variances, how much space is there?
It came back as a difference where the original was, I think, 2.86, and now he actually needed a variance of 3.09 feet. It's a difference of a matter of, say,
Not much.
3 inches,
Yeah.
but the code doesn't allow a percentage of, that I can approve. I have to bring it back to the board for.
Yeah, no, I know, because it's gotta be exact.
Yeah.
And if I recall, nobody came to the public hearing to object to any of this when we heard it in May.
Not that I recall.
I
that, no.
don't believe anybody came.
Well,
And then there's a very small difference.
Very small.
No,
It's,
just
it's a difference
That's why I
in-
asked, I wanted to be sure that
It's a
everybody
difference of
understood that.
about a
0.2.
couple of inches.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Okay.
So Jamie, you just advise him that it's adjourned and should appear next week?
Next month.
Just advise him that if he doesn't come next month, then to take it off. You know, because you can't just keep avoiding. At least that's how I feel. So, you have to apply
What does he
again.
get fined for having the building up there?
He just does, he doesn't finalize his permit, his permanent, he
Right,
can't get a
so-
CLO.
He won't get the CLO, okay. That's even
Yeah,
better.
exactly. Okay, all right. Got the message. Okay.
Now we're at ZBA 01-2021 Forest Avenue. The applicant is seeking a variance to create parking in the front yard.
Good evening, Happy New Year. My name is Annie Klein. I'm an associate at Dalbello, Donnell & Weingarten, Wise & Whitaker. I'm here tonight on behalf of Miriam Nightingale. She's here tonight. She's the owner of 21 Forest Avenue and the applicant in this request for an area variance. So the property is located on the west side of Forest Avenue at the intersection with Robert Place. It's approximately 6,100 square feet and is in the S75 district. It's currently developed with a single-family residence, which the applicant lives in with her family. And she purchased this home back in May of 2019. And when she purchased it, there was an existing paved parking area in the northern front yard. And so she began doing small improvements to the house and the property. And when she applied to the building department to make some modifications to this existing parking area, it was denied, and she was required to get a variance from section 270-30A5 to allow the parking in the front yard. Our application detailed the criteria for an area variance, but to summarize, this is an existing nonconformity. The parking area has been in existence from at least 20 years. I think we submitted an aerial map from the county GIS that was from the year 2000. The county GIS maps do go back farther than that, but the aerial view for this property is very blurry and you can't see anything. But it's been there for at least 20 years. The property slopes down from the street towards the house. So the parking area is actually built on a structure, and the structure is in need of repairs. So these proposed modifications are also a safety issue, and the parking area, the modifications do not propose to expand this area. It's just to repair and improve and repave, just to make it safe and usable. The applicant did look into trying to provide the off-street parking through another way. That would require her to construct a driveway from the street down and around to provide parking in the back of the house, and this was cost prohibitive. So we're here tonight requesting a variance so that she can make these small modifications to this existing parking area. And you know, this has been here for more than 20 years, and so the benefit to the applicant to keep this parking area and make these modifications that will increase the structural integrity and the safety of this parking area outweigh any detriment to the neighborhood and the community.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
On this parking structure, is this being created the same size as the previous one?
It's not being created, it's just being repaired.
Just being repaired?
Mhm.
So the size is not changing?
Not changing at all.
Okay, okay, good.
So just to add to what you're explaining about this parking, is when they submitted an application for the repairs, we didn't have a record of the construction of the parking in the front with the retaining wall at all. And even in the previous code prior to 2009, it indicated that parking in the front yard setback was not permitted without a variance. And when you look at all the properties up and down the street there, all of them have sloped driveways that go along the property all the way to the backyard. So my assumption is when you look at this, is that at some time, there may have been a driveway that went down the side, on that side to the backyard like all the other properties. So rather than me just giving them a permit to reconstruct or rebuild or repair this particular one, I said it would be better off to come to the zoning board and get this properly approved with variances for the front yard parking, since whenever it was constructed, say 20 years ago, and it was required to get a variance.
In other words, it was built without a permit?
Yes.
So in 2000, it was required to get a variance?
In the previous, yes, in the previous zoning code, it had the same language as the code is now, where parking in the front yard setback was just not permitted in residential zone
And
districts.
you feel there's adequate room on one side of the house to put a driveway?
Well, if you see the dimensions on there from the house to the property line, it
Yeah.
says it's 16.7 feet,
So it should be enough.
which the other properties have driveways that go down on a slope to the back. So if they want to keep the 2 parking spaces in the front, I mean, they comply with the size. They're minimum 9 by 18, these are 9.5 by 21.
Right, and they're here today just for a variance so they can park the 2 cars there.
Right,
They
just
park
because
it
the
for
code
that
says the
one, yes,
location of
yes.
parking in the front yard, so.
Because they don't, it's not permitted, in other words.
That's why they want the variance.
Yeah, and they want to rebuild it too.
Just probably
Yeah, it's just
pave over it.
Just repavement and just replacing, the retaining wall is wood right now and it's getting rotted, so she wants to put stone there instead. But I mean, this is a an existing nonconformity. We're just trying to make these improvements to it to make it safe.
Nobody else parks in the front yard of the street.
Well, we didn't see that proposed parking like that on the other properties that are
Yeah.
on that side of the street.
Well, is anybody here to talk, to
Is there anyone
object to this?
here to object to?
No, is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application?
That's what I'm saying, is there anyone here that would like to speak about this application?
I can speak about it.
So do you want to open the public hearing?
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
Motion.
Can I make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
Approved.
All those in favor? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Camp. I'm the neighbor of Miriam Nightingale.
What's your address, please, for the record?
18 Forest Avenue.
Thank you.
I've lived in my house for 38 years. So that driveway, that parking that they're talking about has been there for more than 38 years. The person that owned the house before Miriam, that was already existing there when he purchased the property. So 40-something years ago, there was a driveway that went down along, because you can see the railroad ties or some kind of paving along the driveway down. So he upgraded it, put railroad ties, and put this two-car parking area there. He also had it gated. The previous owner, prior to Ms. Nightingale, he had taken the fence, the gating down to open it up. So it's always been that way as long as I can remember. And
Are you opposed to her?
I am not opposed.
Okay. You support her?
I support her. I was actually the listing agent for the property when she purchased it. I work for Kane and Associates, and like I said, it's always been there. There were never any issues, all along, this time. The neighbors, no one, the other driveways have them going all the way down alongside the properties. This is the only one that has it in the front this way. So obviously the owner at that time, didn't do what he was supposed to do to permit or do what, the right thing. And it's been that way, like I said, for 38 plus years. So, but I have no objection to what she's trying to do and trying to reinforce it and make it better to keep the parking, for the two cars. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak on this issue? Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I move to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone from the board have any questions?
The parking doesn't seem a problem with traffic or anything where they park.
No, it's
No.
not like it's on a corner.
I don't think so, but I wanted your
No.
opinion.
No,
Okay.
no. And it doesn't, like I said, it's 21 feet in length, so it's not that the vehicle is obstructing the sidewalk in any way.
Now,
Two vehicles fit on.
In giving a variance like this, they are stating they're going to repair it. But if you give the zoning variance and they don't repair it, where are we? How should we handle that?
Well, the variance, but if you give a variance, they have 6 months to start the project, otherwise the variance is void. They'd have to come back.
Okay.
Is there anyone that opposes this? Anyone? Okay, can I get a motion may I have a motion to,
I move to approve the
Approve it.
variance.
I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Thank you so much. Have a good
You're
night.
welcome.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. We're up to ZBA 022013 Meadowbrook Drive. The applicant is seeking a variance for rear yard setback for modification of a rear yard deck. Is there anyone here to
Yes.
speak on this?
I'm David Schover, I'm the resident of 13 Medford Drive. Good evening.
Good evening.
We're asking for a variance on a rear setback that is supposed to be 40 feet, and it currently exists, the setback currently existing is 25 feet. So we need a 15-foot variance. The deck has been on this property at least 22 years. We have a survey from 1998 that shows the deck on the property. When we bought the house 3 years ago, it was clear that we needed to replace that deck at some point because it was in bad repair. We decided to do that last summer, and we did so on the same footprint as the old deck. Actually shortened it a bit on the southerly end of the deck. So the setback for the new deck is the same as the setback for the old deck. Apparently, there has never been a request for a variance on this, going back at least 20 years, and I don't know before that when the deck was built.
So you're looking for a 15-foot
A 15
variance,
Yes, I am.
It is a 15-foot variance.
It's actually 14.1 feet.
14.1, even better.
Is anyone here in the public to speak on this?
So you would just open.
My wife is here, she promised me she'd support it.
I would just open and then close the
Okay,
public
so
hearing.
let us open the public hearing in this
Motion.
matter. And a motion to open the public hearing in this matter.
Motion to open.
Second.
Okay, can I get a motion to close the public hearing in this
I
matter?
move to close.
Motion to close.
Is there any questions or comments from the board? Can I get a motion to approve this application?
I'll move that we approve this 14.1-foot variance on this deck.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Enjoy your deck.
Thank you.
We're coming over.
You're welcome anytime.
Barbecue.
And we're DBA 0320, 25 Browning Drive. The applicant is seeking an area variance for the side yard setback of the rear yard deck.
Hi, I'm Carrie Guihan, I'm one of the homeowners. We are seeking, I believe it's a 4.5-foot variance for a deck that's existing. We're just legalizing this deck that was there. It's not visible from the front of the house, it's not visible. In the rear of the house, there's an 11-foot concrete wall, so the people behind us can't even see our deck. So I don't think it's an issue to anybody. I mean, there should be some pictures, I think.
No, I lived on Brownie Drive for 50 years.
Did you live in the White House down by
Yeah.
the tower?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
I
no,
remember
know.
you, my kids
I
have
know-
trick-or-treated at your
I
house.
know those properties that have that fence behind them.
Yeah, so,
It's like, the stone wall and it can't come through.
exactly. So,
Nobody sees it, nobody knows it. Very
so we're
private.
just seeking legalization of variance for that.
4.4 feet,
It's only-
that's it?
I think it's
4.5.
4.5 feet.
That's it?
So if you go back to the survey, so that side, those property lines you see along the side there, that's actually considered all the way to the back is the side yard. Even though it's an odd shape, that's all by code considered side yard, and the rear yard setback is the line all the way up at the top. So we took the closest point to that odd shape side yard, and that's what you're granting a variance for, that's considered a side yard. Yeah, it's just a very odd shaped lot.
I have no problem with that, I would move to approve.
I think she has to open the public
Oh,
hearing.
you didn't
Right.
open it yet?
You
Okay.
shouldn't do that yet.
I'll close, yeah.
Can I open, can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
Second, is there any objections? And
All in favor of?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
And then,
And is,
nobody's here. Does anybody want to
Any
speak in favor
comments?
or against?
No.
Okay.
any comments from the board? Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to close the public hearing.
I did, oh, sorry,
You
motion
did.
to close, I thought I closed it already.
I don't know.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Any comments from the board?
No.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Great, thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Last thing is additional business from the board. which is the approval of the minutes of the resolution from the December 10th meeting.
I can't do it.
I move to approve the minutes.
We don't have,
Well, do we want to?
you and I were the only two people.
I was
Were
here.
you here? Oh, so we have three.
Yes.
So I'll second it.
Okay.
So, we have three.
Yes.
That's enough.
Yes.
Well, do you,
Then you say motion to approve and
And
everybody says
motion,
yes.
right.
yes,
Okay, I have a motion to approve?
yes.
Okay.
So I second it.
Okay.
And then all in favor?
We approve.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Well done.
Aye, motion carries. Is there anything else that we need to discuss?
The only thing I wanted to bring up, and this is a comment that I got from the public, and I thought it was kind of interesting, because we are a quasi-judicial board, what comment was made, why aren't people that present or testify, why don't they swear under oath? And I said, I thought about that, and I said, is that, I wanted to ask counsel, is that necessary?
No.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to bring this up, and just for the benefit of the public that may be watching, because I agree with counsel.
It's just the nature of the ZBA decision
Yeah.
that's quasi-public. I mean, it's not
Not
yeah.
an interrogation.
It's not right.
Yeah, I
It's
don't,
not really a court hearing, right?
no,
No.
you're not,
Yeah.
no.
You're just expressing an opinion.
Right.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
appearing before the board, actually,
It's at the
but,
zoning jail.
something I wanted to just float here was, as I was looking at, some of the applications and thinking, you know, we have some new ZBA members, maybe it would be helpful. I don't think right now it's required to attach like a cover letter to the applications, because some of the applications are just straight plans or just the application form. Maybe it would be helpful in the future to start asking people to attach just like a really simple cover.
We had been doing that, and actually it was requested that we stop doing that.
I think it would be really helpful.
But if you wanna go back to doing that, we can.
Because it,
That makes sense, we need to have like a brief overview.
just simple.
Right, so you know, you're not just looking at a chart and a
Right.
survey and trying to figure out what they're asking for.
I get it, but.
I think it makes
had
sense,
been-
I mean, in other municipalities, it's been really helpful to just have everybody, have not only the applicant, it kind of makes it clearer to them what they're actually, what they're
asking.
requesting. And also it's helpful to the board to not have to parse through the chart and plans to see, well, what's the actual variance here?
Well, they
or
have their
what-
application though.
Yeah, I understand.
Page 2 tells you exactly that they want parking in front of my house.
Well, a parking variance is one thing,
Oh.
but when it comes to like a side yard variance or, you know.
Right, but that's why we include the denial letter from Joe, because that usually
Yeah, 'cause
outlines
usually
pretty
the denial
clearly
letter-
what's
Okay.
being requested.
Well, fair enough, I'm just saying, it could be helpful. Like with, for instance, with 21 Forest, I thought it was helpful. Not every applicant has an attorney that does their whole
So
like.
the applicant will submit that to the board, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy, it can just be like, I'm requesting this variance with, you know, under this whatever section of the code and, cause, I don't know.
I guess, Joe, you'd have to tell them to submit that.
Well, I give them a denial letter that spells out the code section and the reason for denial. If they want,
And-
what they can do is just add that commentary.
And in other municipalities, I've seen them say, you know, like, kind of tailor it to the requirements for an area variance or for a use variance. So then you can look at that and say, oh, are they really meeting our code requirements? You know what I mean?
Right, and you can get a feel for what their case is before the meeting and before, you know, if they're not a good public speaker and
It gives you an outline of the problem.
Sure.
An explanation of
Yeah.
why and all of that. And I think that's helpful for us in terms of not asking silly questions when we can have the answers ahead of time.
Yeah.
Or questions, or develop more questions based on what they say.
Right.
That's what I think.
It's just a suggestion,
No,
but I've seen it be helpful in other places, so
I can see if it works.
just something to think about.
I'm not opposed to it. Anybody?
Was it like recently you guys got rid of that?
Within the last year or two.
Okay. It was just too much for people, they just.
It just, some board members felt it was unnecessary.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But we can do, you know,
I
everything
just-
is always you know,
We
we
have
can
new
revamp
board
things.
members, so.
That's part of the reason why. We have like new board members who might
Maybe
need,
3 years from now, we won't need it, but right now.
who might need a little more info. Anyway, that's all.
Is there any other,
No, I'll move that we adjourn.
a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Jamie, do I
Motion
still,
carried.
Jamie, do I still need 6 narragansett